playing online blackjack and want to try upping your odds? Well, here's a tip. Cheat cards tell you statistics for whether you hit or stand on every move. If you're into stats, this could be your ticket to winning. And it is totally legal. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The Giants are probably going to open up 1-5 on the season. So then you start to say the fans are getting angry. They just want to see Dart. The ownership's like, hey, you know what? Maybe we make the right move for us here. But then you have self-preservation mode with the general manager and the head coach where it almost seems like it's inevitable. Midway through the season, it's going to have to be Jackson Dart. Otherwise, what are we doing, Giants?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It should be illegal for Scottie Scheffler to play on the PGA Tour. This guy can't be stopped. Another victory at the BMW Championship. He has a chip on the 17th, which will go down in the history books. 82 feet, landed 60 feet short, and then rolled the rest of the way. Super exciting win again for Scheffler, who is not only the best golfer in the world, he's becoming one of the best golfers of all time.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
It doesn't matter that they're early in the game, late in the game, they're trailing, they're leading. It doesn't matter garbage time. CeeDee Lamb is the guy, and we saw that even after Dak got hurt last year and Cooper Rush was under center. Targets were going to CeeDee Lamb. And when you can get 9, 10, 12, 15 targets on a game-by-game basis, he's going to rack up fantasy points every single week. Frankly, he underperformed last year.
Game time decisions, only on Sport.
Game Time Decisions is live on SportsGrid on a Wednesday night. Kevin Walsh with you. 26, a little bit under that, hours away from the start of another NFL season, which means tonight we give you the official Super Bowl prediction. And don't forget, and I won't let you, last year on this show, on this desk, told you it would be the Philadelphia Eagles, the most unbiased man in the history of sports media. I was just right. It is not the Eagles this year. Spoiler. We'll be rooting. Well, that's our obligation. But where does the money go? That is a different story. I figured I'd treat the people. Not only will you get my Super Bowl pick, but if you wanted some other opinions, the crew have submitted theirs as well here on this Wednesday night. But we've got plenty to get in the mix with here. There are a couple of 640 games on this baseball board that is already finalized, a couple in some other places. I'll let you know we have the Pittsburgh Pirates, again, the sneaky, really good at home Pittsburgh Pirates, up against the under 500 on the road LA Dodgers. Not nothing. I think that's fair to say. A Dodgers team who is lucky the Padres are playing about as bad as they are because there would be more inroads made. Emmett Sheehan gets the ball throughout the day, or at least I know yesterday, the idea is Ohtani was going to get the baseball for this game. And when I saw, it's not going to be Shohei here, maybe we were given an absolute gift that tomorrow would be Ohtani Skeens. Nope, Blake Snell, who's great. But boy, that would have been quite the treat to have Ohtani. It would have felt like an all-star game, incredibly, between the Dodgers and the Pirates. Cincinnati Reds will look to take this series against Toronto, but they will have to pull off an upset if they're going to do that. Zach Littell, one of their deadline acquisitions, has struggled since joining Cincinnati, has not really, I feel, found his footing. I think he's live tonight, though, to put together a nice performance. I think you could argue some value on the red side of the equation. And then 6:45, you get Boston, Cleveland, where yesterday the Guardians put up 7 runs in a game started by Garrett Crochet. All 7 of those runs, earned runs to Garrett Crochet. A tough look for anyone holding the Crochet Cy Young tickets, trying to, make inroads in that race with Skubal. Skubal yesterday was around minus 250, minus 300. That's 2,500 now on Tariq Skubal in the AL Cy Young race. Boston still got the job done. Boston is favored to get the job done today against the Cleveland Guardians team that has now slipped under 500. The best game on your baseball board tonight is where I will be involved for a best bet. That is the Milwaukee Brewers and the Philadelphia Phillies, a matchup between, you could argue, the two best teams in baseball. They have the two best records in Major League Baseball, and the Philadelphia Phillies took the opening game of this series against Milwaukee in a high-scoring affair. 10-8 final for the Phils, who started Taijuan Walker in that game. Jacob Mizorowski got the ball to start, and again, a lot of the shine, I feel, has come off of Mizorowski. You see these teams dominant in a number of statistical categories. Their odds, few shorter. Really, it's mostly just the Dodgers with shorter numbers than these two baseball teams. So it's a great test. It could certainly be an NLCS preview. I look at the game tonight, and while Aaron Nola may have the bigger name, make the case he's the better pitcher. I don't think he can. So for the Milwaukee Brewers, who have been as good as they've been, 20 games over 500 at home, against the Phillies team, who's 500 on the road, and what I feel like is a pitching advantage, being picked is really surprising. It really is. Jose Quintana, though, was blown up in his last start, gave up 6 earned runs. Looks like a pretty clean bounce-back spot. Or maybe Jose Quintana is going to start to land at his level, and he's been playing a little bit above his skis for Milwaukee. Aaron Nola, to me, again, respectfully, it feels a little bit more like we're dealing with a washed pitcher. He's missed a lot of this season, and since coming back, first game against the Nats, 2 1/3, 6 earned runs. Then he pitched against the Nats again. Certainly at home, a little bit better, 6 innings, 2 earned runs. Still gave up multiple home runs in the game. Then he plays against Atlanta, and that was the 4-home-run Kyle Schwarber game. But Aaron Nola, still in that game, gave up 4 earned runs. I don't think Aaron Nola still has it, and he's really struggled this season against lefties with home runs. In 157 at-bats, he's given up 12 home runs to left-handed hitting. In 100 at-bats, which is less, he's only given up 2 home runs to righties. Terang, Yelich, Frelick, there are guys tonight that can take Aaron Nola deep. If it was a Dinger Tuesday, I'd be loaded up on Milwaukee Brewers. Instead, give me over the 4.5 team total for Milwaukee at even money. I have not dabbled too much in the team total market this year, I feel, for Major League Baseball, but I think this is a spot worth getting involved with. Someone who has played quite a lot of team totals recently and with a lot of success. You got to call it what it is. Our guy, Casino Chris Kopsky. The last week was a clean 5-0 with all team total parlays. Looks for more of the same. Toronto over the 3.5, White Sox over the 2.5. You'll get plus 114 if that's where you are dabbling. For anybody who wanted some U.S. Open talk, you will certainly get it here tonight. Don't you worry. You could argue it is the one area you would, I think, attempt to argue for main event status, whether that be Sinner or Naomi Osaka. Yarnell gets involved, though, in the Osaka match and goes under the 21.5 total games. That is a minus 110 straight play. Pair of baseball picks from AJ and Pat. AJ goes with the Braves money line tonight against the Cubbies and Cade Horton. Cade Horton, by the way, and let's make sure that this is, still bouncing back and forth in the NL Rookie of the Year race. Drake Baldwin has retaken status as favorite, sitting at minus 110. Today's game could actually make a really big difference in who is going to walk away with that award. The Pats pick, which is going to be Yankees money line, yesterday, I kind of said it, right? It's an everyday thing. If the Astros are there, I probably think they're going to win. I probably think they're the right side. I probably think they are being shorted. And that was the case yesterday for Houston. And I guess maybe somewhat appropriately, but the result yesterday, everything around the game, I almost wonder if the Yankees broke my spirit around the Astros. Because the Astros just lost at home and are now once again home at plus 110. A money line dog. Like, that number always speaks to me. And it didn't today. I don't mind Pat's pick at all on the New York Yankees. The Framber Valdez cross-up at home plate is one of those things where, Valdez is like, that is a ridiculous accusation. There's no way. But, man, it looks like it. I mean, again, the world where you seemingly cross up the catcher, and even if it wasn't intentional, wouldn't you be like, my bad? As opposed to just walking away furious? The vibes around the Astros, all of a sudden, at least in my eyes, not as bad as they've been all season long. We stick with the baseball board after a quick break here on a Wednesday night on SportsGrid.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Game Time Decisions here with you on a Wednesday night, looking at what is a jam-packed still Major League Baseball board. We're buttoning up Orioles-Padres, where Baltimore is on the cusp of putting San Diego on a 4-game losing streak. This is a team who has just not been playing good baseball recently in San Diego. They kind of salvaged. There was this they had a 5-game winning streak where they took 3 in a row against the Giants and the first 2 against the Dodgers. Outside of that, it's been really bad. That, includes the Dodgers sweep, a series loss to the Mariners, series loss to the Twins, and seemingly going to be a sweep here at the hands of Baltimore. The bright side for the Padres is the remaining schedule. I know we don't do that. I know schedule talk is way more of a football thing, right? Certainly college football, and certainly when it comes to the NFL, there's smaller schedules. It's easier to grasp. But baseball also, more random when you play 162. All you're looking is to win 2 of 3 as opposed to, we swept. And there's, I understand all of the variables of it. But we are down the stretch here, and the Padres schedule projects easier. There are 6 games against the Rockies, another 3 against the White Sox. There's only so many games left, right? More than half their games are the Rockies or the White Sox remaining. They're not playing good baseball, because I think we would have said, they're hosting the Orioles. That's probably going to be a pretty easy series. And that's not what it's been right now for San Diego. Again, I still wonder, will we see someone drop out of this NL wildcard race? I think largely the answer to that being no is just going to come down to this Cincinnati Reds team never being able to put it together for a real stretch of this season, never ripping off a 9 of 11 stretch like a lot of the teams that are in the playoff picture actually have. What we are going to do, though, is bring in one of SportsGrid's best, one of Major League Baseball's best in just a moment here, which is, of course, Craig Mish, who does an incredible job not only covering the Miami Marlins, but hosting Newswire right here, Monday through Friday on SportsGrid. Also, Craig, right, with the football season starting to work in, some FST here as well on SportsGrid.
What's up, Kevin? Yeah, this is a busy time, the last thing I wanted to see was Sam, his Nationals, just thumped the Marlins the last few days. But, that's what ended up happening. And now, to be honest, it's a little easier to pivot over to football, seeing my Marlins 10 games under now. Man, it's been a tough stretch here.
They flew over a 63.5 win total. As far as I'm concerned, they've had one of the best seasons in baseball. I wanted to ask you, though, about something we were just talking about a moment ago, and you do a great job with this kind of, listen, is this something or nothing, right? And, you'll kind of, put me on the right path here with the Framber Valdez situation that we saw yesterday in the Astros game against the Yankees. Gives up the grand slam. It looked like his catcher told him to step off right before giving up the grand slam. And then it looked like Valdez kind of intentionally crossed up his catcher so he could hit him with a fastball. What did you make of what you saw in Houston and the current vibes around an Astros team who's not playing great ball?
Yeah, first of all, I think that stuff does get worked out. Optically, you don't see that often. Pitchers and catchers generally always on the same page. It's interesting that you mentioned that, though, Kevin, because just before I was here about, let's say, an hour and a half ago, I was at my son's pitching lesson. He goes to pitching coach and he takes lessons. And that was a hot topic in that building of conversation, and just exactly what the catcher's responsibility is to do in that point. Framber Valdez was really wrong. I mean, this is a partnership, pitcher and catcher, and the catcher has to be your best friend. Sometimes it's going to work, sometimes it won't. But really, in the end, you're supposed to pitch what is called. You have the opportunity to shake off the catcher and throw something else. But in no way are you supposed to basically throw a pitch that could potentially harm the catcher and then turn your back on him. So, look, I do think we're making a lot of it now, as we should, Kevin. But these things do have a way of resolving themselves. And I'm sure behind closed doors, they will be. Hard to see both of those two back on the Astros in that same way next year, though. I will say that.
But I think that alone makes it, a big deal for what it is. Craig, I do want to ask you about the biggest game on this baseball board tonight, which has to be Phillies-Brewers, because they're the two best teams with the best record in Major League Baseball. They also have the second and third best odds to win a World Series. The Brewers, though, it took them a long time to get people to buy in. And the Phillies, I've still been a little surprised, Craig, that their odds have not moved more post-Zach Wheeler news. Do you find yourself buying into one of these teams more than the other as it pertains to, completing this the whole way and actually winning a World Series?
I still think it would be Philadelphia for me, just because they've been postseason tested. Milwaukee is along the same lines, Kevin, for me, like a Tampa Bay, like a Cleveland, where they have a tremendous regular season, maybe even win a series in the postseason, but I'm not so sure that they're built to win the World Series. In terms of tonight's game, look, Chorio is out for Milwaukee. You got Aaron Nola pitching for Philadelphia. I've seen some people say pound the over. I believe it's 9. For me, I probably would have to side with the Brewers just in particular in this matchup. I have yet to see Nola put together back-to-back good quality starts all season. So I'll take Milwaukee tonight.
And Craig, I'll ask you this last thing, and we appreciate you making some time before we get you out of here. But some unfortunate news for Boston around Roman Anthony. Could be a month, could be a month and a half that he misses time for the Red Sox. How damaging is that, despite the fact he's just a rookie?
Yeah, look, it's definitely tough, but the Red Sox have a lot of reinforcements they've hit all season long. Anthony with an oblique. I mean, he said he doesn't know what it is or what it's going to be. I'm here to tell you, there is no player that goes on the IL with an oblique that comes back in less than 4 weeks. So, Kevin, my guess is he's got to get in some major league BP because the minor league season is going to be over by the time he comes back. Whether or not they activate him for the postseason remains to be seen.
That is a great update. Well, it's a terrible update, but it's a great piece of information to give people a gauge on. I think a lot of Red Sox fans would say, Craig, almost the driving force of their resurgence in Roman Anthony. Craig, again, we appreciate you making some time for us. I know it's a really, really busy season for us all. Best of luck closing it out with the Marlins and getting ready for football starting tomorrow.
If you want me to stick around, I was ready to do football here with you, Kevin. I don't know what happened.
You know what?
Here.
In no way will I pass up that invitation. Craig is back with us after this break. It is Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
There's no way you're going to have a team with 63 wins and 2 other teams with 55 and probably another 2 that are between 49 and 52. So there's got to be some pullback a little bit, right? Under 62 and a half wins for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
What does he do after he hits the home run? He walks over to the fan and he pats him on the back and gives him a high five. This is the same fan that's been going after him for the entire game. Dave Roberts after the game saying, hey, look, every once in a while, it's kind of funny to see Shohei, who's got this wonderful personality that we almost never see. It was great to see him do that with the fans.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
What a treat. What a treat for me. What a treat for you. Craig Mish with us here on Game Time Decisions to talk a little football. Yes, he's one of the best baseball reporters in the business, but he knows his stuff on the gridiron, and the NFL season kicks off tomorrow. Craig, I just want to start at the very, very top of this sport, the Super Bowl odds, where we don't see the defending champs as the favorites. We don't see the team they beat, who's in the Super Bowl seemingly every year, as the favorites. It's the Ravens and it's the Bills. Depending on where you look, that is who you will see at the top of these sports books. And I think a lot of it is eventually one of them has to get it done. There's too much talent, and I'm wondering where you land on the idea that this is the year for either maybe Baltimore or Buffalo.
I agree, 100%. That's what I think we're headed toward that this year. I lean toward Baltimore for a couple of different reasons. First of all, I have more confidence, Kevin, in their defense in a big game. That's number one. But Kevin, isn't it really when you close your eyes and you think about both teams and you think about their offenses, the Ravens have so many more talented players on offense than the Bills. I mean, this is just a fact. They have better playmakers on the outside. I believe Derrick Henry's still a better running back. They have a better offensive line. So for me, it is Baltimore. It's not to say that if Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen, we can play that game. Lamar Jackson goes down, Ravens season's over. Josh Allen goes down, their season's over.
Yep.
But the Ravens just have so much more around Lamar Jackson that it leads me to believe that that's the team that I would pick to win the AFC. I also would not pick Philadelphia to win the NFC, which is a whole nother
Who stands
story
out to you in the NFC?
I like the Packers. I like Green Bay.
Did you like them pre-Parsons deal, or did that push you over the line?
I did. I thought they'd be really good going into the season, and now I think that this was one that could push them over the top. I really do. I think that they're the class of that division. Yeah. I think every game in the NFC is quite winnable. And when I look at it at the end of the year, I mean, Love, if without him even healthy, they played well with Malik Willis for the most part. The Packers defense is now goes from fantastic to as good as any team in the NFL with Parsons. I mean, he's the one defensive lineman. I'm still a little partial to Watt, by the way, on Pittsburgh. I think that when he's healthy, he changes the game. And when he's not in the game, the Steelers don't win. Take a look at how the Steelers played when he wasn't healthy last year versus when he was. A little partial to him. But outside of that, Parsons is the most dominant player on defense in the NFL, and they got him. And how good are they going to be, Kevin, in November and December? I think the Packers are the team that I would pick to win the NFC. I don't know if they win the Super Bowl, but I think that that would be my sneak to get in.
Yeah, I really think the thing with Green Bay is, I'll be honest with you, Craig, I didn't have him in the playoffs prior to the Parsons deal because I have some questions on their quarterback and coach that I feel like nobody else seems to have. Parsons is good enough that I put him in the playoffs immediately. Didn't think twice. It's like, all right, let's get it, because I think he is that impactful of a player. I'm very interested to see if Jordan Love can stop throwing interceptions for 8 consecutive weeks and then also at the worst time of the season. I think that is a valid question. But these are the questions that exist until they're yes, and then you're right. And they make that deep, incredible run. I'll end with this, Craig. I'm sure you've talked about it at length on Newswire, but I think even when you take all of your time covering Major League Baseball, where you've been around crazy situations, just what was your full takeaway from everything between Parsons and Jerry Jones specifically?
You know, I guess, Kevin, that I would ask the question to you. Do you think it's more likely that the Cowboys win 10 games this season or 3 games this season? If you had to pick one of the two, you had no choice, which would it be?
That is an incredible question.
You blew up the back there, so let me re-ask that question.
No, listen, it's we set some things off. It's a great question. I think
if you had to pick one. You had no choice.
I would
pick
to
10.
Pick one. I would pick 10.
I would pick 3.
The offense should be too good.
Something tells me, Kevin, that we're headed to a grab the kind of picks type year with Dallas.
Wow.
I don't think Michael Parsons is Herschel Walker, but I mean, Jerry Jones is not that stupid. He's not. I don't think so. I just think the realization has set in that they're not as good as Washington. They're definitely not as good as Philadelphia. They're probably better than the Giants. And I'm not saying that Dallas is going to win 3 games. I think they could win 5. I think they could win 6.
If you pushed it to 12, you'd get me to 3. I would then say 3. Yeah. But, the offense, I would think, has enough. I think we learn a lot tomorrow night.
They didn't get a running back either again. It just feels like they're kind of we'll just punt a little here. That's what it feels
Dak loves a fake comeback, though, which is probably why I'm taking the 8.5. Greg, we appreciate it as always. It's Game Time Decisions. We'll be right back.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
There's no way you're going to have a team with 63 wins and two other teams with 55, and probably another two that are between 49 and 52. So there's got to be some pullback a little bit, right? Under 62.5 wins for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
What does he do after he hits the home run? He walks over to the fan and he pats him on the back and gives him a high five. This is the same fan that's been going after him for the entire game. Dave Roberts after the game saying, hey, look, every once in a while, it's kind of funny to see Shohei, who's got this wonderful personality that we almost never see. It was great to see him do that with the fans.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Game time decisions with you here on a Wednesday night on SportsGrid. We are closing in on the start of another NFL season, which of course begins with the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. So to help us get ready for that game, you might be betting some baseball tonight, some tennis, some WNBA, but you probably already put in one or two plays, be honest with yourself, for Eagles Cowboys. So to help us learn a little bit more about the defending champions, that is Andrew DeCecco, who writes and covers the Philadelphia Eagles for InsideTheBirds.com. Andrew, we appreciate you making some time during this incredibly, I am sure, busy part of the calendar for you. Can I start with because I think I've intentionally said defending champions 3 or 4 times because you're around this team. They would say, stop saying that to me. They would say that's not a thing. And I'm just curious, from someone like yourself who has been around this group, what your takeaway has been from this mantra and idea that has been pushed out by Philly, that it is a new season. Who cares that we won the title last year?
Yeah, Nick Sirianni has really driven that point home. And it's not just Nick Sirianni, Kevin. It's prominent members of this team. It's Jordan Mailata, Jalen Hurts, Landon Dickerson, Lane Johnson. They want to move forward. They don't want to look backwards and reflect on the season that was. They want to really hone in on the details and try to build off of that and focus on what they can do in the here and now. And again, not live in the past. And that's something that when you hear prominent members like them speak about that, it really trickles down and it permeates throughout the locker room. So this is a really locked in football team. And regardless, whether it was OTAs, training camp, or even just recently, a couple days before the season opener, they've all echoed a similar sentiment, and that all starts at the top with Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts.
And it's a team whose toughness is clear as day to see on the field, and a lot of that can be defined by their offensive line, and we saw it in the Super Bowl between Cam Jurgens and Landon Dickerson. And one of the probably the biggest question mark around Philadelphia throughout this offseason was the health of Landon Dickerson. One of those that popped up. The Eagles were lucky to avoid, a Rashawn Slater situation that hit the LA Chargers hard. But it looks like all systems go, which has to be a huge boost now for Philadelphia's offense heading into this game with Dallas.
Yeah, and to take it a step further, Kevin, the only player who's ruled out is backup quarterback Tanner McKee. Now, I don't want to just cast that aside. He's the number 2 quarterback, but to kind of put things into perspective, that is a healthy roster that the Eagles are taking into the season opener. It speaks to Nick Sirianni and his ability to get his team through what it was a very grueling training camp. He's very calculated in how he approaches it, but to get all of the starters and prominent role players to the start line, I think that says a lot. But to your Landon Dickerson point, it was at the open practice that he suffered the meniscus injury. Didn't look good at the onset of it. And, a few days after having the procedure, he was out on the field during the joint practice with the Cleveland Browns, passing out Miller Lights to some of the Browns offensive linemen and some of the Eagles offensive linemen. That obviously indicated that he was doing all right. But Landon Dickerson he's as tough as they come. You can never put anything past him. And earlier in the week, he was sidelined, but it was with a back injury, which what we learned. But he's full go, and so is everyone else aside from Tanner McKee.
So if everything then is largely the same for the offense, right? There's always, a couple of changes. Mekhi Becton's in LA now and things like that. I think what a lot of people are interested in is how is this team going to really try to attack defenses? Because despite winning the Super Bowl, they were one of the defining storylines of the Eagles season was downplaying the offense, negative talk around that offense, and it came through the passing game. Jalen Hurts threw for nearly 1,000 fewer yards year over year. Some of that was missed time, but it was the design of this football team. Do you get a sense, Andrew, on if we might see this team throw the football a little bit more throughout this 2025 season?
Well, everything that, whether it's Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo, who I do have pretty high expectations for, he's an impressive coach, at least everything that he said leading up to this point, they've all mentioned the word evolve. And that certainly wouldn't pertain to the running game. That would suggest that they're going to look to open things up in the passing game. And really, they have to in order to take that next step forward. I would imagine the teams are going to look to sell out to stop Saquon Barkley. The Eagles have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert, who Nick Sirianni says time and time again, that's who the passing game runs through. I would expect Jalen Hurts to have more of a heavier hand in the aerial attack this season. And one thing I'll say about Jalen Hurts, this summer, I've noticed his willingness to fit the ball into tight windows, attempting passes that he probably doesn't even go to a couple of summers ago. He's a lot more confident within the offense. He's carrying himself with a hardened resolve, and I can't wait to see what this offense ultimately looks like under Kevin Patullo, because Jalen Hurts, make no mistake about it, this is his offense.
And that, I think, is one of the most interesting things, when it comes from a general sense, right? But for folks who, bet on these games as well, they're 8.5-point favorites, right? Will they need to throw the ball? Well, maybe they'll just want to throw the ball. It becomes one of the most interesting things. Now, on the other side of the field, Andrew, of course, the absence of Micah Parsons looms large, but Dallas offensively still projects to be a very potent group. Dak Prescott went out there, usually can fill up a stat sheet. CeeDee Lamb is pretty consensusly regarded as a top 5 wide receiver in football. And I think there's a lot of optimism around George Pickens, who they acquired from Pittsburgh. What do you make of the challenge this Eagles defense, who lost a lot of pieces, will have on their hands going up against Dak and Dallas?
Yeah, and look, the Eagles have a youth-infused defense. They've prioritized building around its young nucleus. There's some moving parts there. At cornerback 2, you're likely going to see Adoree Jackson, who's played in the league for over close to a decade, and Sidney Brown will be the safety opposite Reed Blankenship. So those are 2 newly minted starters. You couple that with some of the younger players like a Nolan Smith at edge, J-Lux Hunt at edge, who you asked me about the last time we spoke, Moro Ojima playing defensive tackle, who had a remarkable summer. And I'm looking at it in the sense of Dallas is going to really look to attack that second cornerback spot opposite Quinyon Mitchell, whether that's the newly acquired George Pickens, or whether that's CeeDee Lamb. I would expect them to try to pepper that side of the field wherever Adoree Jackson is, and also the middle of the field with tight end Jake Ferguson. Remember, the Eagles are starting a young first-year linebacker in Jahad Campbell. He is a dynamic player, explosive, has the splash plays, but there is the inexperience that I think you have to take into account. So that suggests to me that Dak Prescott, a veteran quarterback, may look to take to the middle of the field and try to threaten that second level.
It is going to be really fun to watch these two teams battle it out. And not very often we see Dak and Hurts on the field, actually, despite being division rivals. Andrew, we appreciated you making time for us here right before the start of the NFL season. Best of luck throughout the year.
Appreciate it, Kevin. Thank you.
Great stuff. Again, that is Andrew DeCecco. You can find him right there at that handle on Twitter. Covers the Philadelphia Eagles for InsideTheBirds.com, helping us get set for the start of another NFL season. And I think it is appropriate, and of course that's why they are playing tomorrow, that we just talk some Philadelphia Eagles, who not only won the Super Bowl last year, but I remind you again, won the Super Bowl as my pick to win the Super Bowl. And that is a pick that was made while being the most unbiased man in the history of sports media. And I will put that on display once again, because in our next segment, it is time, after a quick glance around the Major League Baseball board, see if we've missed anything. A reminder of what's happening tonight at the U.S. Open. A reminder of what's happening tonight on the WNBA hardwood. Who is winning the Super Bowl this year? I'll tell you next.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
We're live with you here. It is Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid. Major League Baseball board is off and running, where the Pittsburgh Pirates are up early on the LA Dodgers. That is 1-0, a Yerfie due to Brian Reynolds with a solo shot. Cincinnati is up on Toronto, looking to take that series from the Blue Jays and help out the Yankees and the Red Sox as they try and actually catch Toronto for the top of the division. Guardians, though, all up over these Boston Red Sox. It is 4-0 right now in a game where the Yerfie did cash. Do not forget the U.S. Open. We get Naomi Osaka, who checks in at around minus 300 in her quarterfinal matchup. And if you think that's a big favorite, you haven't seen the price on Jannik Sinner. My goodness. In a 110, the Italian special quarterfinal matchup, minus 4,500 on Jannik Sinner. It is why we wait patiently for the start of the semifinals and probably what many expect to be the final, another rematch of Sinner Alcaraz. A little disrespectful probably to Novak Djokovic, who is currently locked in for a semifinal matchup against Carlos Alcaraz, but just the level that those two guys are playing at in Queens. A reminder as well, the WNBA tonight with 2 games on the board of the Atlanta Dream, a 5 to 4.5 point favor, depending probably where you look, against a Sparks group who needs it. When we talk about the race for making the playoffs, the Dream need it in the race for seeding. The race for the bottom is what you're focused on if you're looking at Sky Sun. Angel Reese today with some comments that certainly suggested she's not going to stick around in Chicago if they keep putting up 9-30 records, which is what the Chicago Sky are entering tonight's game with the Connecticut Sun. That is where the board stands. But tomorrow's board, they could cancel it all. We'll be in the mix elsewhere. But it's all about the start of the NFL season. And that means we need to make our Super Bowl picks official. And yesterday, we did another edition of Kevin 7. We put a lot of work into that. We care about that. We want to have integrity around Kevin 7. 7 NFC playoff teams. 7 AFC playoff teams. But I got to say, Kevin 7, it takes a bit of a hit. Because the starting point of this whole thing, I gave 7 Super Bowl contenders. 7 teams that I was going to consider for a Super Bowl future. I didn't know who it was going to be at the time, but it had to be one of those 7. That's what stood out to me. Record, price, roster, the whole thing. And there were legitimately really, really good teams on there. From the top of the barrel, like the Baltimore Ravens and the Philadelphia Eagles, some sizzles, either the Chargers or the Bucks. You could find the man in the middle, the Niners, the Commanders, the Lions. There were options aplenty. None of those 7 ended up making the cut. That's on me. That's on me. That's the world and the roads that we've walked to get here. But I got to tell you, I am glad that we have. Because if I was forced to give out this pick this time last week, I would have told you Baltimore. I would have told you Baltimore, and I wouldn't have felt good about it. And I'm not knocking anybody who has picked Baltimore. The Baltimore Ravens are really good. That roster is the only that could credibly call itself better than Philadelphia's. And Lamar Jackson is someone that I believe will someday break through and win an MVP in the Super Bowl, not just the regular season. But I am not betting the Baltimore Ravens as the favorites because this is a sports betting show, and the number has to matter. And I have seen the Ravens put forward dominant, first place, regular seasons. At what point am I going to feel good about the Ravens at 7-1? You'd have to check in at halftime of their first playoff game. And even then, would it really be all that calming? No. So I zigged and zagged, and I ended up landing in the same division. Joey B, Joey Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals. I choose you. I am betting on Joe Burrow. Look around. You won't find anybody else out there taking Cincinnati to win it all. I stand on that island. Mahomes, Allen, Lamar. What about Burrow? The Bengals make the playoffs this year. And the reality is, and the easiest argument to make on Cincinnati's 25-1, unlike when you bet the favorite, where you're going to be disappointed if you're betting a wild card team, you put Cincinnati in, I feel good about it. Boys, case in point, last year's Cincinnati couldn't stop a nosebleed, and everybody knew that if the Bengals got into the playoffs, that was going to be some trouble for some teams. That's how it felt. That's how it felt. So what about this year's team? You know how good the offense is. I don't need to tell you that Joe Burrow is one of the 5 best quarterbacks in football. You know that. You know that Jamar Chase and T. Higgins make up the best wide receiver 1-2 punch in the league. It is one of the most potent offenses that we offer up, despite not having a good offensive line. So that side of the ball is secure. There's a lot of people who will make the case for Cincinnati to make the playoffs, and they usually make it. What if the defense goes to 24th? What if the defense goes to 23rd? Well, I have no doubt in my mind their defense will be better. This team added to the defense. I don't know why we act like they did not. Shamar Stewart is a round one edge. That was figured out. And now pairing him next to Trey Hendrickson, last year's sack leader, is fantastic. And it'll make life easier on a secondary that might have a little bit of juice. And the linebacker room is undeniably better. Super Bowl champion Oren Burks. I like a little Super Bowl pedigree in the room. Don't forget Demetrius Knight Jr., who they drafted in round number 2, who's got some juice in that linebacker room as well. Everyone keeps asking, what if the defense is a little bit better? Defenses have a lot of variance. Philly's defense 2 years ago was atrocious, and then it was the best in football. So I ask you this. What if Cincinnati has a top 10 defense? Then what? Then you'll wish you, like I, got to the window on the Cincinnati Bengals to win the Super Bowl. If you want an exacta, if you want to pick to in the NFC, most unbiased man in history of sports media. He's done it again. Give me the Cincinnati Bengals over the San Francisco 49ers. The only thing I don't love about that graphic is the obvious slander to MV Purdy by putting CMC up on the slate. The rest of the crew's Super Bowl picks around the corner on SportsGrid.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
There's no way you're going to have a team with 63 wins and 2 other teams with 55 and probably another 2 that are between 49 and 52. So there's got to be some pullback a little bit, right? Under 62.5 wins for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
What does he do after he hits the home run? He walks over to the fan and he pats him on the back and gives him a high five. This is the same fan that's been going after him for the entire game. Dave Roberts after the game saying, hey, look, every once in a while, it's kind of funny to see Shohei, who's got this wonderful personality that we almost never see. It was great to see him do that with the fans.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Cincinnati, do you love me or what? You got to embrace me. You got to embrace me. I'm taking the Cincinnati Bengals. I love that number, 25-1. That's over on DK. Look around. Get involved. It's free bet season. A lot of no sweats. On Thursday and Friday. We'll be in the mix. We will be in the mix. I got to tell you. You want to know one of my worst takes? Last year, all year, I thought, was that because of Cincinnati not winning games early season, that last year week 1, there was no way they lost to New England Patriots, and they did. Like, when you say that something that's minus 350, or so is going to win, and it loses, like, that's 100% blame pie. And that's how I started the NFL season. And now Cincinnati's they're going to make it up to me. I feel good about that. I do. I'll just say this. I consider the Ravens, and I understand the people who make the pick on the Baltimore Ravens, but I could not get there at the number. Chris could. He takes the Baltimore Ravens over the Green Bay Packers for his Super Bowl pick. Listen, it's out there. The Parsons move, I think we've seen its influence in the market, and I understand it. I do. It put the Packers in my playoff picture. They were not there prior. I am not betting Baltimore as the favorite. By the way, especially as somebody who likes Cincinnati, of course, I think Cincinnati is live to win the division. And the Ravens are in Baltimore week number 1. They may lose that football game. What does that number look like post that game? I think it becomes really interesting to watch. Yarnies, Tampa Bay over Kansas City in the Super Bowl. Bucks winning the Super Bowl as Tampa Bay owning Mahomes maybe becomes a theme. If this ends up coming to fruition, I got to say, as much as you want the take to be about Tampa, the KC portion of this is they make a 4th straight Super Bowl. I mean, this guy goes back to, I believe this is his 8th season as a starter. What would be his, 6th Super Bowl? I mean, it's his 7th. It is incredible. But Mahomes has lost 2 Super Bowls. He's won 3 Super Bowls. He's lost 2 AFC championship games. This would be an 8th. Or it would be a 6th Super Bowl appearance, which would be remarkable this young into his career. You guys know I don't see it that way. I think the Chargers win their division. I think Kansas City is being asked a lot this year. I think Mahomes has a better season statistically. I think they lose some close games. That's one of the other things that really works in favor of Cincinnati, the close losses. Okay? Those things have variance. This is a football team who last year went 0-3 against the Chiefs and Ravens by a combined 5 points. 3 games, less than 2 points a game. And those were not Dallas fake comebacks. Every single one of those games, it was like, oh, they're obviously winning this football game. Every single one of them. So that's another thing that makes me like Cincinnati. Our last Super Bowl prediction, we have got the AFC covered here with the Big Four, at least making the Super Bowl for all 4 of us. Bucks make it for AJ. Some Tampa Bay love. Bills win it. Finally crossing the finish line with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. And Buffalo fans and backers would be right to take issue with the offseason that I have had, because you could easily argue there is no high-end team I disrespected more than Buffalo by never considering them. Didn't make my Kevin 7, obviously not ultimately my pick. I did have them still winning their division, but then again, who doesn't? They're minus 330. I think in my heart of hearts, I probably would have rather not pick them to win the division, but I did. The schedule's there. Josh's floor is there. McDermott's defensive floor is there. But what I said with Lamar, how I think Lamar winning a Super Bowl, that is how I think this story ends for Lamar. I don't with Josh. I still don't believe. I don't believe in Josh Allen, the Super Bowl MVP. I think he has so many hurdles to cross. And hurdle number 1 still for Josh Allen is beating Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. And I still tend to believe, like, there are Bills fans somewhere out there who say, oh, if we just could have beat Kansas City, it would have been different in the Super Bowl. No, it wouldn't. It would have looked just the same. Just the same. Let's talk baseball and awards on a Wednesday.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
There's no way you're going to have a team with 63 wins and two other teams with 55 and probably another two that are between 49 and 52. So there's got to be some pullback a little bit, right? Under 62 and a half wins for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
What does he do after he hits the home run? He walks over to the fan and he pats him on the back and gives him a high five. This is the same fan that's been going after him for the entire game. Dave Roberts after the game saying, hey, look, every once in a while, it's kind of funny to see Shohei, who's got this wonderful personality that we almost never see. It was great to see him do that with the fans.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We're back with you right here on Game Time Decisions. We will talk some NFL awards in just a moment, but I do want to update everybody on the live board, but even more important than that is mentioning the big game that is coming up in Milwaukee between the Brewers and the Philadelphia Phillies, where, you know what, let's pull up an odds board, actually, and see where this looks across multiple shops here, because it looks like Philly is going to close as a favorite more so. Yeah, there's like a pick still out there. Is that a minus 120 on Philly over on FanDuel? Wow, I got to tell you, as somebody who's on the team total for the Brewers, I know some people like this, some people don't. So they were minus 110, minus 115. Milwaukee at plus 102, like a plus price on the Brewers in this spot. I would have actually made that the best bet over that 4.5 team total. I think both are winners. I'm not going to move anything around. I like the Brewers tonight. I think they're being disrespected on this line. I don't think Aaron Nola still has it. I don't. I think I lean more Quintana bounce back than Quintana blow up. That's me. That's not the market right now, though. You could probably get some not too expensive 3.5s now on the Brewers team total. Minus 158, little pricey. Let's take a look at one other spot here. This is a big game, man, because we talk a lot about divisional races, and rightfully so. But if Philadelphia brings home field advantage into their ballpark throughout the postseason, I mean, that's a big deal. There's really no other way to see that, right? I think that's been one of the fascinating parts around this Major League Baseball season, just how few teams have actually been good on the road. Teams above 500 on the road this year in Major League Baseball, just quickly. Yankees, Tigers, Astros. My goodness, what happened to the Mariners, man? Above 500, Brewers, Cubs. That's the list. 5 teams? Brewers, Cubs, Astros, Tigers, Yankees. That's it? That is pretty poor. Above 500. And the Brewers are 11 over 500 on the road. I mean, it's why they have the best record in the bigs. That is just incredible, man. That is incredible. I'm on the team total over as a best bet in that spot. We should be underway. Let's make sure that we're underway in the Naomi Osaka match. Odds are locked. We'll keep our eyes on that. I want to talk some awards, okay, for the NFL season. Okay, we will re-rack, certainly some of this tomorrow, right here on Game Time Decisions. But where can you get to the window? I want to remind people, okay, with some of the awards and with some of the futures, I love the ability to use free bets, right? And you get them in a lot of ways. You get your no sweats, doesn't go your way, you get a free bet. You might get a deposit bonus. You might get whatever it might be, right? You get a free bet, okay? And how I see those free bets, to try and give you the simplest version of it, right, is if you get something at 10-1 and you put a $25 free bet on it, and then you put a $25 real bet on it, that to me is 25 to win 500. So that can expand your odds. So I could not give out, right? Let's just take Jaden Daniels to win MVP is 10-1. I'm not going to tell you, I bet Jaden Daniels at 20-1 to win MVP. That's ridiculous. That's not a real number, right? But using those free bets gives you more flexibility, I think, in these markets. And I think that's relevant in award markets, right? And I think it can allow you to try and take advantage of, if you think there are some missed prices out there early season, but also react to what is a very long season and where things can pop, all right? So what we're going to do is my favorite award bet. Drew's got some favorite award bets. And then we'll talk about some value shots otherwise. My favorite award bet, a number that I have stared at and found stunning. It is a 15-1 Defensive Player of the Year bet on Nick Bosa. I am so surprised that you can get Nick Bosa at this price. When we think about pass rushers with pedigree, Bosa has to be one of the first names that we mention, with Myles Garrett and Micah Parsons and T.J. Watt. Because as far as guys who have won this award, well, in the last 4 years, it's T.J. Watt, Nick Bosa, Myles Garrett, and it's Pat Surtain. It's not Micah Parsons. It's not Aiden Hutchinson. And I think those two guys have the numbers where they do, because the idea is, maybe it'll be their time, right? It's not super easy to rip this award off and win it multiple times. The list of guys to do so are absolute legends. And I have no problem with him if you want to say, Kev, it can't be Bosa, because he's not Reggie White, Bruce Smith. He's not Aaron Donald. He's not J.J. Watt, right? He's not Lawrence Taylor. But I think what Nick Bosa has going for him is a narrative plus schedule that the price is not matching up to. Micah Parsons is the rightful favorite, but he's 5-1 compared to 15 for Bosa. I don't know about that. Aiden Hutchinson is plus 750. I think the Lions defense will be better, okay? But again, half the number of Nick Bosa. How? And maybe the biggest selling point, right? You are not winning Defensive Player of the Year on a terrible football team. Myles Garrett cannot be plus 850 to Nick Bosa's 15-1. Nick Bosa is a division favorite. Micah Parsons is not. Myles Garrett is not. T.J. Watt is not. And Aiden Hutchinson is a part of a very tough NFC North. And Will Anderson on the Texans, the only other player booked in front of Nick Bosa, tough to tell what the Texans are ultimately going to be. I'm not picking them to win the AFC South. I don't think our next guest is either, by the way. So I think you've got some real value here on Nick Bosa and a 49ers team that I think is going to be much, much better. Chris thinks there's some value on Aaron Glenn. If you're in on the Jets, it makes sense. I'm not in on the Jets. It's that simple. But if you're in on the Jets, if they are a playoff team for you, that makes sense. I'll tell you this right now, though, okay? If you don't have the Jets making the playoffs, then that 11-1 is a terrible bet. That's all I'll say about that. Yarnell's going to go to the Protector of the Year award because, of course, he is. Green Bay's Zach Tom, 35-1. My biggest take on this award is Lane Johnson should be the favorite over Penny Sewell. Like the Eagles are always considered the best offensive line in football. They should then have the favorite to win the Protector of the Year award. It's the first year of the award. We don't really know how everything is going to shake out. AJ goes to Jalen Hurts at 20-1 to win league MVP. I played a couple of free bets on Jalen Hurts as well to win league MVP. Jalen Hurts is my preseason prediction to win league MVP because I think there is the ability to record, narrative, and eyeballs to match this. Jaden Daniels is in the same division as Hurts at half the number. That is nonsensical. Even if you like Washington, you are getting a terrible number on their quarterback to win this award. Year in and year out, the best way to win MVP is to be the quarterback on the best team. I'm getting 20-1 on the defending Super Bowl champions quarterback. The same number as Herbert. Jordan Love is 16-1. In what world? In what world? The Packers don't have better odds than the Philadelphia Eagles. The Packers run the football a lot with Josh Jacobs. So I think Hurts has a lot of value. I do. You know who else has some value? Trevor Lawrence at 45-1. I think it's worth a sprinkle. I think Trevor Lawrence is worth a sprinkle. Because we know the value of having elite wide receivers, right? We see it for Joe Burrow, right? I think Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter make up one of the best wide receiver duos in football. Man, there are some people still out there doubting Travis Hunter. First, play the game against Carolina. Bubble screen, it might go to the house. We'll be right back.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
There's no way you're going to have a team with 63 wins and two other teams with 55 and probably another two that are between 49 and 52. So there's got to be some pullback a little bit, right? Under 62.5 wins for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
What does he do after he hits the home run? He walks over to the fan and he pats him on the back and gives him a high five. This is the same fan that's been going after him for the entire game. Dave Roberts after the game saying, hey, look, every once in a while, it's kind of funny to see Shohei, who's got this wonderful personality that we almost never see. It was great to see him do that with the fans.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Oh, man, it is no mystery why we are about to bring in the Walsh family's probably favorite SportsGrid host. I think that includes me. Cam Stewart joins us here. You can catch Cam all across the SportsGrid network. I know you've been doing a great job, of course, on the Sports Rage podcast, which has been fantastic. You guys have been pumping that out. Cam,
great episode today. Great episode today. But
what'd you guys have?
Babano, we're going out. We're just talking about like baseball fights and stuff like that. Games like, you're wrong, Babano. It was just awesome. And then we're still talking college football, CFL. No, it's a lot of fun. We get to break down a lot of stuff. And about an hour, and it's awesome, Kev. But I was just telling you, you're like, I'm like, hey, Kev, I really like the Giants this week. Some sharps are on these guys, and you're like, oh, man, sharps, dulls. I'm like, butter knives can be sharp, and I'll tell you something. I'd rather be a butter knife sometimes. Going into the NFL season, everybody thinks they know something. We know nothing. We can do the best we can. We can do all the research, but it's a crazy, wild league. Look what happened in college football, buddy. Florida State's a 14-point pooch, and they went outright. LSU, like, you know what I mean? These things can happen. So, yeah, the Giants will be definitely a play. And I love what you guys were saying about Trevor Lawrence. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars win the division. If you're looking for a comeback player / 45-1 bet, he's going to be airing it all over the lot. I know people will laugh at our take there, Kev, but I think that's a phenomenal price. I'll sprinkle.
And I'll say, and let me just add to this to the Trevor Lawrence case. If you actually look, Baker Mayfield last year had MVP level numbers. He basically was the only guy who statistically could sit in a room with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. 40 touchdowns, 4,000 yards, the QBR, the passer rating. Well, Baker's coach is now Trevor Lawrence's coach. But what Trevor may have going for him a little bit more than Baker is his standing in the league. And I know that might sound crazy, but Baker was kind of left for dead a little bit. Like, it took a lot for Baker to win people back, right? Baker's making $20 million or less than Trevor Lawrence, right? I think Baker's better than Trevor Lawrence. My point is,
I do too.
Trevor is a guy who has been paid, who a national champion in college. Like, the Trevor Lawrence belief has always been there. So I don't think it'll take as much convincing. And at 45-1, you're looking to get into the race, right?
And another thing, Kev, look at the division.
That's what it is.
Look at the division. How's Cam Ward going to do? I know he looks good, but Tennessee still has a lot of flaws. Then you look at Indianapolis, like, are you kidding me? Daniel Jones and the Colts. So it's like, if any team's going to come back, it's the Jaguars, and they're going to score a lot of points this year. That's my thing. I know their defense isn't perfect, but I'll tell you, those damn receivers, they're going to make lives miserable for people. And Etienne was good for a while. He had a bad year, but you got Tank Bigsby. Like, they got weapons there. I'm looking at the division going, there's a lot of soft teams there. So I'm kind of on the Jaguars. They're a buy candidate for me.
I agree, and I just want to say something here about the Houston Texans, okay? Because people are like, the Texans win the division every year. The Houston Texans had the longest odds to win this division 2 years ago. They won a Saturday game where they needed Jacksonville to lose the Sunday game. They get in, they win it last year. They're on a 2-year winning streak of winning the division. Also, it's football. Crazy things happen. Yesterday, Cam, I went for it, right? You're talking about the New York Giants. I put the Giants in the playoffs. I know the schedule's hard. I get the schedule's hard. I think Dable's a decent coach. I think Russell Wilson has a bit left in the tank. I think the defensive line will be great. And I'm getting yelled at. They're like, you don't think they'll... how could you possibly leave out the Rams? Well, I don't know if Matthew Stafford's back works. So, you know what? We're going to take a couple of shots here. So we're taking a shot with the New York Giants in the playoffs, Cam.
Kevin, I love your style, and I'll tell your dad, pour one out for me, Mr. Walsh, as we just crushed the beers at the bowling alley. I have the New York Giants over 5.5 wins.
There you go.
As one of my favorite plays of the year. I don't care. I know the schedule is a murderer's row, but that's the NFL. So you're going to have a tough schedule. You're going to win games you shouldn't win. This team is going to be competitive. They're going to play a very competitive. Their front seven is one of the best in the league. I don't care. Russell Wilson, what do I know about him? A lot. I'm a Seahawk fan. Just don't turn over the ball inside the 20s and things will be fine. The Giants have to rely on defense, field position, and get it done. They also have good special teams. The Scottish Hammer's a good punter. They got fine kicking game. Just don't do dumb things. Let your defense put you in a position to succeed. Over 5.5 is very attainable with the New York Giants. I have the Jaguars win total over too, Kevin. It's you know me. I gotta take these teams that like nobody wants to touch. And I think you talk about the Rams. I'm not I was sold, but now I got a lot of questions too. Like the 49ers have a softer schedule. I think Seattle, they're going to grind. They're going to be a little bit better. Who knows about Arizona? A lot of people think they're a sweetheart darling. You know what I mean? They could be dangerous. So it's a National Football League, but I think the Giants are definitely going to get there, buddy. I don't know what win totals you like, but I like dating the 11.5s and like going under and taking the low ones and going over for the most part.
Yeah, no, listen, I'll just say this. For everyone who keeps telling me about the Giants schedule, one, I know, I can read as well. Yep. Two, all of these people must win their survivor pools every year. Like, there's upsets.
Yes.
Like, we see, let's take it easy. I'll tell you this, Cam. The one low-hanging fruit that I don't think is low enough is the Browns under. The Browns, to me, are going to be awful. The offensive line is bad. The defense is bad. The quarterbacks are bad. The skill position players are bad. The schedule, like the AFC North is really good. Like the Steelers are never terrible. The Ravens and Bengals are really, really good. There's a 5.5 at -140. I know that's a little expensive. I don't see how the Browns win more games this year than they did last year.
I couldn't agree with you more. I did a video that I basically, like, the people of Ohio and Cleveland want to murder me. I said the Browns might win like 2 games this year.
What are they expecting in Cleveland?
Come down to Cleveland, Cam, and we'll show you. Well, I'm like,
oh my
guys,
gosh.
No, it's fun, Cam, but you know how it goes. I don't like to pick fights with anybody. I'm a lovable bear, but people take football seriously. You don't talk about, like, soccer teams, religion, and NFL teams. They'll go to war for their teams. But I agree with you. People are saying the Saints. I wouldn't be surprised if Cleveland's the worst team in the league. They'll be right there. I don't see how this team on a perfect run gets 4 or 5 max. I'm with you. Like that's a good run for them. I think they win like 3 games, 2 or 3 games.
Yeah, I totally agree. Cam, listen, it's the NFL season. We get caught up in a little bit in the NFL. I don't want to blitz you, so what we're going to do, because we're running up against the break, I'm just going to ask you to come back around really quick at the top of the next segment, and we'll get, because Cam's going to, come on, Cam Stewart, he's involved with the U.S. Open and every single thing in between. So we'll get Cam's thoughts on that. We'll run back quickly one final time, just what is happening on this Major League Baseball board. The WNBA board is off and running as well. And why not? We'll remind you of all the Super Bowl picks one final time as well. It's Game Time Decisions. We're on SportsGrid.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
There's no way you're going to have a team with 63 wins and 2 other teams with 55 and probably another 2 that are between 49 and 52. So there's got to be some pullback a little bit, right? Under 62.5 wins for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
What does he do after he hits the home run? He walks over to the fan and he pats him on the back and gives him a high five. This is the same fan that's been going after him for the entire game. Dave Roberts after the game saying, hey, look, every once in a while, it's kind of funny to see Shohei, who's got this wonderful personality that we almost never see. It was great to see him do that with the fans.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
All right, Game Time Decisions. We're closing it out here on a Wednesday. This time tomorrow, we will be sending it off to an in-game live show that will be live. Start of the NFL season. Cannot wait for that. But the thing is, for guys who are as true to this as they come, like Cam Stewart and, of course, Gabe Morency, you can put on 1,000 NFL games. They will still bet the tennis, the CFL, the college football, the baseball, the WNBA, and that's where I learned a lot of this from, those early in-game lives with Cam and Gabe. So, Cam, What are you on here on this Wednesday that people can follow along with?
I actually think your Yankees are in a good spot against the Astros tonight. I was telling Kev off air, and I'm a diehard Blue Jays fan, but I'm very concerned of the way they've been blowing leads late in games. They're trying to make a comeback. Bieber got hit hard by Cincinnati, putting up a 5 spot. It's 5-3 now, but I think the Yankee train can still roll, and I think they can win that division. I know people in Toronto now probably want to kill me like people in Cleveland, Kevin, but that's the way I feel about this thing. There's a lot of baseball left, so that's something that I'm looking at. We have a tennis match tonight, and I've never seen like a favorite this deep into the U.S. Open. When do you see favorites, Kev? What are you seeing? Minus 3,500 for
minus 4,500, I think.
4,500, yeah, depending on your book, it's great. But I'm taking a shot with Musetti plus 9.5 on the spread in the spread betting angle that I found on my book. So that's something I think Italian versus Italian. Maybe Sinner takes he'll take his foot off the gas and he'll win, but I'm not sure. But I got to tell you something too. I'm looking at like futures. Sinner at minus 120 seems very, very good to me. Like, I think that is a great price. Like, he's beaten Alcaraz before. I know Djokovic is on a nice little run, but you know what? If you break everything down, we bet minus 120 in a baseball game. It's barely over a pick 'em. Why wouldn't I take Sinner to win the U.S. Open? The guy's like almost unstoppable. So that's something that I would look at if you don't have a horse in the race right now. I got Osaka at 18-1, but Muhova is a very, very dangerous competitor. This is live right now, and Osaka's like minus 380. That's an unbettable number for me. I'm just hoping that she gets it done, Kevin. So that's basically what I'm looking at. WNBA, I looked at the card tonight, and usually you're like, Cam, there's a Connecticut Sun and Chicago Sky game. That is like the ultimate dumpster dive. Like, I don't even know. Like, I'm like literally going to every garbage bin going, this game's horrible. I was going to bet it and take the Sky, but I'm going to lay off, Kevin. I'm actually going to show some will and say, let's save our money for the Eagles-Cowboys game tomorrow night. By the way, Dallas is getting 8.5 on my FanDuel book here.
You know what, Cam? Why not? Cam's think? My favorite. I was going to wait till tomorrow. I'll say it now. I don't care. I took Dallas 8.5 today. That's way too many points. Yeah, way too many points.
That's it. Go. How about them Cowboys? And this guy's a diehard Eagle fan. No, it's about money these days. It's about paying mortgages. Like, I can't change the results.
I have a mortgage now. Can you believe that? It's crazy.
Trust me. My bank really screwed me when I was in the negotiations. Like, Mr. Stewart, we're going to give you the worst rate possible. Okay, Terry, sign me up. So I better have a good football season. I'm going to tell you, though, I love the Cowboys. I think there should be points in this game as well, Kevin. I'm having problems with the Seahawks-49ers game. I'm a Seahawks fan. I want to take them, but that 49ers team, with McCaffrey healthy earlier, and I worry about it. You know what? Fandom's one thing, but you got to think about dough. And I'll tell you, and I love the Bills as like my second favorite team for Morency and everybody else. I like the Ravens to beat the Bills. That's another game that I've already bet.
Yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down with that football game. I'm very interested to see where it closes. Not that it's going to close at 3 either way, but I'm just interested to see who the books are kind of forced to put as favorites in that matchup. Cam, we appreciate it as always.
Pleasure,
Best of luck throughout this NFL season. We'll be checking in with Cam throughout right here on Game Time Decisions.
Have a good one, buddy.
Cam is the absolute best. Make sure you are following everything he's doing. Gabe's up next with Scott Wetzel on In Game Live. I just want to remind people, okay, before we close this thing out, because I have been excited to talk about this, and I feel good about it. I know people think I'm crazy. I don't think I am. Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Bengals are my pick to win the Super Bowl this year at 25-1. I believe in Joe Burrow, Chase, and Higgins. Who doesn't? I believe in Al Golden and this defense definitively taking a step forward. Not, they might. No, they will. The defense will be better. So, 80-1 Al Golden, Assistant Coach of the Year bet, we got a piece of it. We also happen to have a piece, though, of an easy narrative sitting right there. Third man on the board, Robert Saleh coming back to San Francisco, plus 850. That's why I'm betting Nick Bosa to win Defensive Player of the Year. We'll talk more awards tomorrow and the start of the NFL season on Game Time Decisions. Nowhere else to be. In Game Live is next.